The M1 family of chips is the fastest we've ever made. Good morning! The M2 chip is the fastest chip we've ever made. Good morning! The M3 chip is the fastest chip we've ever made. Wow! The M4 chip is even faster than the M3. The Apple M5 chip is the fastest chip we've ever made. The Apple M6 chip is the fastest chip we've ever made. The Apple M7 chip is a motion coprocessor that we put inside the iPhone 5S many years ago. Oh, so it's not the fastest chip you've ever made? The M8 chip is the fastest silicon we've ever made. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has given us a pretty good idea on when to expect all of the Mac line to start switching over to the M4 chip, which right now, bizarrely and ironically, is only found in the iPad Pro, and I'm sure a lot of you are as curious as I am. Why is Apple in such a hurry? Like the M3 chip, the entire family launched just last October, hasn't even been very long, and now the reports are saying this October or November, sometime after the iPhone event in September, they want to drop not just the regular M4 chip into a new MacBook Pro, but now Gurman is saying even the higher-end M4 Pro and M4 Max chips are going to be making their way into the 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pro variants. This is why I tried to warn people whenever they jump on board with the whole, oh, there's a new M2 Pro MacBook Pro, I better buy that one, or oh, there's a new M3 Pro MacBook Pro, that's the latest one, I want it to last longer, I better buy that one. Well, in this line of work, Apple is probably pretty quick to upgrading things, especially in this whole AI trend. So get comfortable with not necessarily having the latest generation whatever, because if you're planning on owning that machine for the long haul, it's not going to be the latest generation for most of its life, which is why I tend to recommend people go used and refurbished, because honestly, most of the time the M1 Pro and M1 Max chip is still plenty fast and plenty capable for whatever people are looking to do on their Macs. It's only very specific use cases that can take advantage of those new features. But according to Gurman, there's supposed to be some Apple Intelligence-based features that might only really be possible with the M4 chip, and perhaps that's why Apple is rushing so fast to get the M4 in as many Macs as possible. Even the 24-inch iMac, he said, is supposed to get refreshed just in a couple of months at this Mac event in the fall, which just got the M3 chip. And really, I don't think anybody's complaining that the M3 chip is too slow for the iMac. My biggest complaint for the 24-inch iMac is the fact that they still ship those stupid things with lightning ports on the Magic keyboards and Magic mice and trackpads. We've switched to Type-C, Apple, on our AirPods and our iPhones. That was nearly a year ago now, and yet you're still expecting people to charge their Mac accessories via Lightning. That's what should get more attention. I don't care so much about M3 to M4, but maybe there's some Apple Intelligence feature we don't know much about, because I would have thought it would have been brought up by now with macOS Sequoia. If there was some Apple Intelligence feature that only the M4 chip could do, wouldn't they talk about it at least on the iPad Pros that have the M4 chip? Maybe it's one of those situations where because it's running iPadOS, it just doesn't have the thermal overhead or doesn't have the capability to run what they want it to run, and they really need a true pro hardware system like a $599 M4 Mac Mini in order to activate these features that they're just not ready to showcase yet. It's going to be Image Playgrounds Plus or some stupid membership like that. But yeah, that means the entire MacBook Pro lineup is supposed to be upgraded with the M4 family just in a couple months. Also, the 24-inch iMac, and of course, a new upgraded, redesigned M4 Mac Mini, which is supposed to be smaller while still packing a decent punch. But that's pretty much all that's rumored to launch by the end of this year. We're not supposed to be getting any M4 chips in MacBook Airs until the spring next year. So it feels a little bit weird that the iPad Pros have a newer chip than the MacBook Airs, but MacBook Airs already were getting refreshed pretty frequently because they threw the 15-inch model into the mix, and then only 6 months went by when they upgraded both of them with the M3 chip, so maybe they're willing to cool off a little bit, and they probably know that MacBook Air customers are less likely to care about having the best of the best features. Maybe that'll just convince more people to spend the extra money on a MacBook Pro to access whatever the AI tech is in it that apparently can't be done on any other silicon. But of course, now that we're talking about the whole M4 release schedule, some of you may be noticing, well, wait a second, why didn't we ever get the M3 chip in the Mac Studio or the Mac Pro? Those are are still supposed to be the pro level desktops, and yet they're not getting some kind of, M3 Max or M3 Ultra. Well, apparently with Apple's change in direction with trying to focus more on generative AI features, they're deciding that they're going to leapfrog the M3 chip for the Mac Pro and the Mac Studio. I guess they feel like there's no point in making a Mac Studio with M3 Max if you're not also going to offer it with the M3 Ultra. I don't know. I still feel like most people with Mac Studios would be perfectly happy with an M3 Max chip, which does exist, but there's no time. We got to get AI out there, right? As quick as we possibly can. So that's why we're going to have to wait until next summer, likely around WWDC 2025, which means June of next year, in order to get the M4 Max chip in the Mac Studio, along with the M4 Ultra chip, which I'm assuming will go into the Mac Pro as well. But here's hoping Apple's actually figured out a way to kind of stitch more die together in a more scalable way that allows for a lot of great ray tracing and 3D modeling performance, because right now the Mac Pro is just kind of like a skeleton of its former self, and then they just felt like slapping some Apple silicon in there. Very hard to justify the Mac Pro right now. Hopefully they're taking everybody's criticism of it and looking at, okay, how exactly can we improve upon this and make it justify that insane cost. Personally, I don't think the Mac Pro needs to be as big as it is, especially in the days of the ARM architecture. And if you're going to make it much smaller, it's basically going to turn into a Mac Studio. So it's just in an awkward position regardless, but overall, that's the recap. Don't expect new MacBook Airs, Mac Studio, or Mac Pro until next year, but pretty much everything else, like Mac Mini, iMac, and MacBook Pros, are all going to be upgraded within the next couple of months. I'm not saying you should wait to buy a Mac just for those M4 variants, but I bet you those M1 Pro and M1 Max MacBooks out there are going to get even cheaper once the M4 models drop, and you'll be able to save yourself a hunk of cash. What do you guys think of these mystery Apple Intelligence features that Apple seems to be so rushed to try to get in their M4 chip and in as many Macs as possible? What do you think this chip is actually capable of doing? Are Macs going to have certain Apple Intelligence features that no other Apple hardware gets? Feel free to drop your thoughts down in the comments below, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.